She's almost like a ghoulish apparition of Kate Bush. It's almost like an aura, an essence that you can't quite bottle. Hey guys, welcome back and hello if you are new. I hope all of you are having a wonderful day so far. So I am going to be looking at an album from someone who last released a record in 2019 in the form of Birth of Violence. And this is going to be the 7th album that Chelsea Wolfe releases, entitled She Reaches Out to She Reaches Out to She.
Whispers in the echo chamber of my mind, and the void become alive and
So if you're not familiar with Chelsea Wolfe, she is a fantastic singer-songwriter, also has a band as well. But she is very ethereal, I think is a good word. There's something really sort of quite otherworldly, particularly this record, about her sort of delivery, her style and everything like that. And I'll be going into that a little bit more. But she's collaborated recently with Converge on the Blood Moon record, which was really, really cool. But yeah, this is her first release since 2019's Birth of Violence. Thematically, the record explores quite a lot of things. Some of them are cutting ties. Rebirth, I think, is quite a big one. But it's more in the idea of reaching out to yourself. Importantly, though, this is about a conduit of your past self, reaching out to your present self, and then your present self reaching out to your future self. This process summons a number of emotions, but those that are most important are guidance, growth, and then I think in turn that creates change. It also represents an infinite echo chamber, hence the album's title, She Reaches Out to She Reaches Out to She. It's cyclical, you know, it's got this Ouroboros kind of vibe to it. I also find it interesting because the present self will become the past self, making the future self almost slightly unattainable. That's kind of like my sort of meta way of trying to kind of get my head around the ideas of this record. So the immediate realization of this record is that it is a complete departure of what we heard on Birth of Violence. Of course, there are some vulnerable moments on here, but it's kind of an album that focuses on more industrial soundscapes and, you know, distortion coming in, particularly on the end of Whispers in the Echo Chamber with that sort of big guitar riff coming. And it makes it a lot more dense, a lot more impenetrable. You've got tracks like the ominous Eyes of Nightshade, which, you know, kind of rang that Nine Inch Nails kind of bell, and then Everything Turns Blue has got this sort of like slight electronic buzz to it. Yet despite being guarded, there's definitely moments of vulnerability here, like on Tunnel Lights is really soft piano moment. There's more experimentation on this record. You know, there's trip hop, which gives way to piano on the liminal, but then House of Self Undoing has these sort of break beats that kind of are being played with, which I think is interesting. There's also a jazz style sample at the beginning of Tunnel Lights with this piano section. And it made me think, you know, it's a complete juxtaposition to have this very sophisticated jazz sort of almost like late night bar type feel, which is put against the more sort of organic and kind of traditional style of Chelsea Wolfe, which is very sort of like earthy and, you know, sort of grounded. Which I thought was very interesting. But I think the great thing is that even though there's lots of different sounds happening here, none of them feel out of place. None of them feel kind of like they're sticking out like a sore thumb. They actually really create a really nice tapestry where they're all woven in together. There's definitely a sense of peace in these moments of stillness here that bring that sort of weird, otherworldly feel to life. There's a sense of modernity in the writing of it, and whilst there is this element of sinister, it's elegant, it's adult, and it's contemporary rather than being ham-fisted and predictable. She Reaches Out to She Reaches Out to She is a record that very much reveals more of itself the more that you listen to it, the more you dig in, all of these different effects, these different ideas, melodies, layers, all this sort of stuff. Violins are coupled with electronic samples, you know, you've got synths which are layered over vocal lines. And Unseen World, I think, is a great representation of these sort of layers and detail that comes through. Vocals have always been the key to Chelsea Wolfe's appeal, and this record, more so than any, proves that how brilliant the production is at enhancing these subtle nuances in her delivery. Place in the Sun, for example, kind of showcases this sort of weird ASMR kind of vibe that made me think of Billie Eilish's like older goth sister. She's almost like a ghoulish apparition of Kate Bush. It's almost like an aura, an essence that you can't quite bottle. And, you know, I feel like She Reaches Out to She is just like an A24 film, you know? It's just keeps you guessing right until the end. Chelsea Wolfe has created a record that fuses both her personalities to create a record that gazes just as much into the void of introspection as it does into the world of the unseen. And it's a real treat of a record. So for that reason, I'm going to give this record an 8.5 out of 10. Thank you so much for watching this album review. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, hit that like and subscribe button. And if you can, share with any friends that you think would enjoy this content. Please do let me know what you think in the comments underneath me. And I'll see you guys very soon for another album review. Take care, my friends.
I will go.